Women have always been oppressed by man and society, but little by little they have organized and started claiming their rights, such as women were able to vote for the first time in the general elections of November 1933. The dissolution of a marriage can only be done in Spain since June 22, 1981. The right to voluntarily abort on July 5, 1985. In 2015, the equality law was established.
Gender equality is not just a basic human right, it also has a lot of socioeconomic consequences. Women empowerment impulses prosperous economies and stimulates the productivity and growth. Even so, gender inequality is still a common thing in society. Women find obstacles to get decent jobs and face job discrimination and gender wage gaps. Often, they can't access to basic education and healthcare. Women suffer violence and discrimination all around the world.
The lawyer and feminist activist Clara Campoamor got in 1931 that women could vote and after a great struggle. Although in 1939, due to coup d'etat and the Franco dictatorship, this law was dissolved and wasn't reestablished until 1977. Concepción Arenal was a writer who claimed the rights of women. It was with her that feminism was born in Spain. Emilia Pardo Bazán was a writer who always claimed the rights of women. She was also the first woman to try to enter the Royal Spanish Academy, although she was denied.
The Universal Declaration of Human Rights says that all human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. No one shall be subjected to torture or to cruel, inhuman or degrading treatment or punishment. Marriage shall be entered into only with the free and full consent of the intending spouses. Everyone has the right to take part in the government of his country directly or through freely choosing representatives. Everyone without any discrimination has the right to equal pay for equal work. Everyone has the right to education.
In the year 1902, in the United States, some workers of textile factory decided to strike. The owner of this factory decided to lock them all inside and burn the factory, causing the death of 129 women. It was said that in the factory they worked with violet fabrics and that the smoke that left the factory was violet.
ONU Mujeres is the organization of the United Nations which works to promote the equality of gender and women empowering. Worldwide defensor of women and little girls. ONU Mujeres supports the states members of the United Nations. The entity focuses on 5 priority areas. Increase the leadership and participation of women, end the violence against women, involve women in all aspects of peace and security processes, improve the economic empowerment of women, make the gender equality a priority in the planification and elaboration of the national budgets.
The principal tasks of ONU Mujeres are give support to intergovernmental organisms like the Comisión de la Condición Jurídica y Social de la Mujer for the formulation of politics, rules and standards of global range. to collaborate with the member states in the implementation of these standards through adequate technical and economical assistance for the countries that request it, and to establish effective partnerships with civil society. Direct and coordinate the work of the United Nations system in terms of gender equality, in addition to promote accountability and giving a continuous supervision in the development of the whole system.
What's ICD, Catalan Institute of Women? Organism of the Government of the Generalitat de Catalunya that designs, promotes, coordinates and evaluates policies for gender equality that the Administration of the Generalitat develops based on the exclusive competencies granted by the Statute of Autonomy of Catalonia. The year 2015, they create a law for gender equality. Some of the things they say was to eliminate discrimination, recognize the social and economic role of the family jobs, etc. RAI is a Spanish dictionary where we found some discriminating words like man in the street, normal person, woman in the street, prostitute looking for clients in the street, enjoy, to make carnally a woman, to get dressed up, a woman who enjoys an excessive liberty, female, waking rickety, masculine, energetic.
The 8th of March 2019, there were feminist manifestations all around Spain. The most important ones were the ones in Madrid, with 375,000 people, approximately, Barcelona with 200,000 people approximately, and the ones in Sevilla and Bilbao with 50,000 people approximately.
Turkish women in all Turkish states before Ottoman Empire. In all Turkish states, the position of Turkish women used to be very important as a leader. Pre-Islam period, women had authority over the government such as Göktürks, Huns and Uyghurs. In Dede Korkut legends, it's seen that women are pretty free, warrior and brave in every aspect of their social life.
The history of women's rights in Turkey. In the early 16th and 17th centuries, during the Sultanate of women who were part of the imperial harem, had an outstanding influence on how things worked in the Ottoman Empire. The sultans at those times were all minors, so their mothers effectively helped to rule the empire. Women back in the time were of slave origin. Throughout the decline time of Ottoman Empire in the 19th century, some educated women from the elites of Istanbul gathered to organize themselves as feminists. Due to Tanzimat reforms, improving women's rights were seen as an opportunity for wider modernization. With that, Ottoman women started to demand rights, and they fought for better education, paid work, and for an Islamic will. With this movement, early feminists started to publish women magazines in different languages for the whole world to know what their goal was and what they were going to achieve. After that, the first Women's Association, Ottoman Welfare Organization of Women, was founded in 1908.
Writers and politics such as Fatma Aliye Topuz, Nezihe Muhittin, and Halide Edip Adıvar also joined the movement for women's rights. After the founding of Turkish Republic in 1923, the movement eventually became a part of the Kemalist modernization efforts. During 1930s, Turkey gave all of the political rights to women, also including to be elected and to elect. However, the social position of women were still not fully secured and fair. In 1980s, the feminist movements became more independent. During these times, women from all over Turkey began to meet up as awareness-raising groups, mostly in Istanbul, Ankara, and Izmir. During these meetings, they criticized the gender-specific roles, behavior that was forced upon all the women.
First 5-year development plan. In 1978, the first public protest organized by the feminists was against male violence, followed by protests against sexual harassment and sexism. By the second wave of women's movement happened, and it spread wide over Turkey, and it made them reach out to other women who lived across Turkey. Throughout 1980s and 1990s, the acceptance of women's issues were discussed further with the help of first 5-year development plan, 1985-1990 for the first time.
After the Turkish Republic was established, the hijab was banned for women who were struggling with illiteracy and deep-rooted misogyny that stemmed from years of patriarchy and religious dogma were pushed into the light. They were equipped with the tools and skills to help build the new nation. Atatürk and his people worked towards the empowerment of women, something which had already started long before the dying days of the empire. The feminist movement in Turkey gradually merged into the Kemalist doctrine. The new civil code adopted in 1926 abolished polygamy and recognized the equal rights of women in divorce, custody, and inheritance. In all walks of life, Atatürk's Turkey has produced tens of thousands of well-educated women who have participated in national life as doctors, lawyers, engineers, teachers, writers, administrators, executives, and creative artists.
Reformations. The General Directorate handled a large variety of activities with the objective of protecting women's rights and helping to strengthen the position of women in society, their education, cultural, and political life. The rights for them to work under the same conditions as men and to provide the equal utilization of rights, opportunities, and capacities. In 1993, Tansu Çiller became the first female Prime Minister of Turkey. In 2002, the Turkish government reformed the Turkish criminal and civil law, and since then, the rights of women and men have been equalized during marriage, divorce, and any subsequent property.
With abiding faith in the vital importance of women in society, Atatürk launched many reforms to give Turkish women equal rights and opportunities. The entire educational system, from the grade school to the university, became co-educational. Atatürk greatly admired the support that the national liberation struggle received from women and praised their many contributions. In Turkish society, women have not lagged behind men in science, scholarship, and culture. Perhaps they have even gone further ahead. Turkish women had lived free of the veil for 5,000 years and had been covered only in the last 600 years by Mustafa Kemal Atatürk. The last 600 years were represented for Ottoman Empire.
Declarations of women's rights in Turkey. Atatürk gave women the same opportunities as men, including full political rights. On 17 February 1926, Turkey adopted a new civil code by which the rights of Turkish women and men were declared equal except in suffrage. After a short but intense struggle, Turkish women achieved voting rights in local elections by Act No. 1580 on 3 April 1930. 18 women, among them a villager, were elected to the national parliament. Later, Turkey had the world's first woman Supreme Court justice.
Declarations of women's rights in other countries. Most independent countries enacted women's suffrage in the interwar era, including Canada in 1917, Britain over 30 in 1918, over 21 in 1928, Germany, Poland in 1918, Austria and the Netherlands in 1919, the United States in 1920, Voting Rights Act of 1965 secured voting rights for racial minorities.
First women in Parliament of Turkey. By 1934, women had complete political rights and universal suffrage, way earlier than most other countries. With that, there were a series of firsts. A total of 18 women became members of parliament in 1935, which was the year when women members were represented at the highest ratio in the parliament with 4.6%.
Humankind is made up of two sexes, women and men. Is it possible that a mass is improved by the improvement of only one part and the other part is ignored? Is it possible that if half of a mass is tied to earth with chains and the other half can soar into skies? Mustafa Kemal Atatürk.